If you're black in this country, injustice does not care about how cute you are. Doesn't care about how fresh your Jordans are. Doesn't care about your outfit. Injustice doesn't care about your lashes or how good your edges are. Injustice does not care about whether or not you have 360 waves in your head or how good your locks are. It doesn't care about your college degrees. You can't educate your way out of injustice. Your college degrees mean nothing to racism and injustice. If you're black, rest assured, injustice is coming down your street at some point. It's showing up on your block. It's showing up in your house. It's showing up on your job. Because when it comes to injustice in America, there will be no ceasefire against injustice and racism. There will be no white flag wave. Injustice is not going to give up. There will be no truces. There's no room for draft dodgers or conscientious objectors. You won't be able to get a draft deferment for this fight against injustice. If you're black or you come from a marginalized community, you won't be able to sit this one out. This is a fight that we all must be in. Every single one of us have to be in this fight against injustice. And that, frankly, is because injustice and systemic racism declared war on black people a very long time ago. For as long as black people have been in this country, for as long as we've been here, we have never been guaranteed justice, never been guaranteed dignity, never been guaranteed equality. We've had to fight for justice, fight for dignity, fight to be treated like any other American citizen in this country. And because of this, there can be no bench members in this fight against injustice. You can't sit this one out. You're not going to be able to sit on the sidelines and see how it's going to turn out. You're not going to be able to just wait and see what happens. You're not going to be able to hide in your corner of social media. You just won't be able to do it. Discrimination and racism and systemic injustice has and continues to target black communities. It targeted black people for over 200 years when it kept us in chains and in bondage and in slavery. It targeted black people after slavery when it continued to keep us in second-class citizenship by creating segregation and Jim Crow and black codes and convict leasing. It targeted us when it transitioned from the old Jim Crow to the new Jim Crow that we live under now. It targeted us when it created mass incarceration, which has robbed millions of black people and stolen them from their communities and put them into jail. It targets us with housing and employment discrimination. It targets us by taking our tax dollars and neglecting our communities and creating blight and neglect in our schools. It targets us through unconstitutional policing practices like excessive force and false arrest. It targets every area of black life. Injustice makes black life illegal. And if you don't believe me, just look at all the facts, all the statistics. In 12 states in this country, over 50% of the prison population is black. That's despite black people being less than 20% of the population. Over the last 35 years, more than 3,000 people have been exonerated from prison for crimes they did not commit. You know how many of those people were black? Over 50%. Over 50% of the 3,000 people that have been exonerated have been black people. Black people have lost close to 18,000 years of their lives sitting in prison for crimes they did not commit. And more are being exonerated every single day. This kind of injustice against black people has become so prevalent and so widespread in our country that it's become common and acceptable. Nobody thinks anything about it when they see a black person being brutalized or treated unjustly. And I don't know about you, but this angers me. This is not okay. Those black people who are wrongfully convicted could have just as easily have been me, or it could have been someone in my family. Frankly, it could have been you. It actually might be you. And you should feel angry knowing this, knowing that your country and the criminal justice system is continuing to unjustly treat black people for no other reason than they are black, for no other reason that they look different. So what do? You say, Julian, you can't be a bench member. How do we not be bench members in this fight? Well, we have to stay engaged. We have to stay proximate to these issues, have to get close to them. We have to continue to speak up and speak out against injustice. Can't be silent about this. And most importantly, we have to continue to vote. The most important thing that you can do is to vote. I cannot stress that enough. Vote, 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 vote. The police work for the government. The government works for you, the citizen. Despite what people say, the police are not a separate part of society that is unchecked. They do not have unlimited power. They're not a fiefdom. We have the power to decide how our communities are policed. But this only happens when we participate in the electoral process and put people in office who reflect our values, who reflect our experiences, who come from our neighborhoods, who come from our communities, who understand the things that we go through as a people. We have to put those people in office, not just somebody who shows up at church and say, vote for me. Got to be somebody who understands you. And we have to continue to speak up and speak out against injustice, continue to engage in the conversation around police accountability and police misconduct. But most importantly, this is the most important thing you can do. Continue to share the stories and experiences of those that have been wronged. That's why I do these videos. It's the telling of the stories that restores dignity to what should have been a shameful experience and situation. It's the telling of our stories, of Black stories, that shows the humanity that Black people face in spite of brutality and in the face of brutality. And it's the telling of Black stories that restores strength to those that an unjust system continually tries to weaken. We must continue to tell our stories.